Hello friends, welcome to automationtalks.com. Myself Prakash Narkade, and this is Selenium tutorial. In this Selenium video tutorial, I'll take you through data-driven testing, that is data-driven framework in Selenium WebDriver. Now, the first thing is, what is data-driven testing? Right. So, to explain, let me take you through one website. Okay, and you can find all these tutorials on my blog automationtalks.com. Here you can find manual testing, Selenium tutorials, you can find Tosca, Jenkins and other DevOps tools, right? So Selenium tutorials, you can go to Selenium WebDriver and you can find at last data driven framework over here. So I have a complete article over here. I'll just take you through all these today. Okay, so let us take an example of this demo webshop.trisyntax.com. Suppose you have a login functionality. So for login functionality, I need username and email and password, right? So there are two fields, email and password, and one submit button. So if you do a testing, then you have four combinations, in fact three combinations. First one is valid user, valid email and invalid password. Second one is invalid user, invalid password. Next one is invalid user, valid password, right? So you have you will get four combinations like this, right? So if you do a manual test, then definitely you need to enter valid, invalid, valid, valid, invalid, valid and invalid, invalid, right? So definitely you need to enter manually four combinations like this. But if you are if you are automating the webs, if you are automating this particular functionality, login functionality, then you need not to write four scripts, like first script for valid email and valid password, second test case for valid email and invalid password, third test case for invalid email and invalid password, right? So you need not to write the four test cases. Instead of that, what we will do is we will write one generic test case, and this generic test case will accept a values of username and password combination from this Excel sheet, right? So one test case will be there, and this particular test case will be driven by a set of data, which is known as data driven testing, right? So the data will be present in the Excel sheet, and the data present in the Excel sheet will drives your test case, which is which you have written in suppose Eclipse. It will drives your test case. So what we'll do is we'll connect this Eclipse Java with this Excel sheet. We'll read the data from Excel sheet, and our test case will read the data one by one from the Excel sheet, right? That is what is data driven testing. So this data driven testing saves you a lot of time, because if you have one similar flow, let us take another example of account opening. In account opening, you have multiple fields: name, email, mobile number, then various city, country, state, like multiple fields, right? So if you want to if you want to test the fields with multiple combination of the data, then you need not to write all the test cases for all the what I can say, all the scenarios, all the your data. You can just write one generic test case, and you can have a set of test data in your Excel sheet, and you can drive this your test case through this test data, known as data driven testing, right? So this is what is data driven testing. And why we use data driven testing? Data driven testing is used to save a lot of time in creating your test cases. Again, for maintaining your test cases, it is very easy, because you just have one test case with multiple set of data. Again, you can have any number of data combinations in your data driven testing with just one test script of similar flow, right? Flow should be similar. Here my flow will be only login flow: enter email, enter password, click on login and verify my if the user is logged in successfully or not, right? So the flow will be same, but what will change? It will only email will change and password will change, so based on the combinations. Okay, So the first thing is, let us create one project. I'm naming it as a DD framework, data driven framework, and finish. Now I have mentioned some folder structure over here, right? So this folder structure is a part of framework. So what is meant by framework? Framework is nothing but it is a systematic folder creation to manage your project in a good way, right? There are many definitions of framework. This is what I say. So the folder structure is very important in your framework, right? So let us create a folders, and I'll explain you simultaneously what each and every folders do. First thing is what we need to do is, first let us create one package named as com dot demo web shop dot. Now the first thing we will create is page objects. Now what is page objects? I'll take you through. Now let us say this is my test case. Okay, first I should be on home page, right? So on home page there are multiple links, multiple buttons, multiple fields, multiple links, multiple images, right? So each link, each field, each button have a web element, right? Because sorry, by using that web element only we will click on this link, or we will send text to this field, we will click on this button, right? By using web element. So we need to identify web element of each what I can say object which we will be interacting with, right? So for my login I'll be interacting only with this login button, right? So I will click on login and I will enter username, password and login. So what and all object I need? From home page I need only this login link. Then from login page, this is login page, from login page I need email field, password field and login button, right? Now what is page object? Page object is nothing but objects from the page, right? Objects from the page should be segregated, right? So let us say there are multiple pages. This is your home page, then next we have your login page, right? Now assume that on your home page you have links like login, then we have checkout, then we have something books, something called as categories, right? There are multiple links, let us suppose, right? And the similar links are present in login page, right? So if we are writing it in a single class, if you are writing the objects in a single class, you will get confused, like which object is from which page, right? So in page object model what we do is we create a separate class for each page. So for home page I'll have separate class, for my login page I will have separate class, right? And this both home page and login page will contains page objects, from home page, sorry, here it is login page, and in the home page it will contain page objects from home page, right? So this is what a page object model is. What is page object model? Page object model is nothing but objects from each page which you will be going to interact should be in a separate class, so that will be easy for maintenance, right? So from home page what I want is, from home page I just want a login link, and from login page what I want is I want email field, password field and login button, right? So I want web element, so from home page I want web element of login link, from login page I want web element of email, password and login button, right? So we will find out each object for each field in this page objects package, right? So I hope you are clear with this page objects package. So number of pages in your application is equal to number of classes in this page objects package, right? Which and the object should be which you are going to interact with in your all test cases. Now the next one is prop files. I'll explain you what is this prop files. First let me create a package. Let me create one package called as prop files, which is nothing but property files. Now here the concept is of parameterization, that is to skip hard coding. So parameterization or to skip hard coding, what we do is we use properties file in Java. Now why hard coding is not good? Let us say your application have URL, username and password. There can be many fields like this, many parameters like this. So let us say your URL, your username and password will be different in your UIT, unit integration testing. Then for system testing your URL will be different, system integration testing URL will be different, for UAT your URL will be different, and for production server your URL, username and password will be different, right? So once you define the framework for the application, it should be same in all the regions of your deployment. It could be unit integration, system integration, UAT and prod, right? So what happen if you hard code URL in your test case? Like we use driver.navigate to some URL, right? So what happen if we navigate if we hard code that URL in your application? For UIT your URL will be different, ST different, SIT different, right? So whenever you run your automation framework in each environment, you need to change the URL in your each test case if you are hard coding it, right? But if you do not want to do that, then you can create one properties file. You can create one properties file, and in this properties file you can dynamically mention URL as equal to www dot, let us say, automationtalks.com. Then you have something username is equal to admin1, then you have password is equal to 123, right? So let us say for UIT my URL is this, username is this and password is this. Now when I change my region to system testing, let us say my URL changed to /st, right? And username changes something from admin1 to admin12 and password to 1234, right? So whenever I am running from my test cases from UIT to ST, then I just need to change a URL in properties file so that this URL will get reflected in all my test cases along with like whatever parameters I am providing in properties file. Similarly, whenever I am changing to whenever I want to run my test cases on SIT, then I just need to change the URL in properties file like this SIT, and it will get reflected in all my test cases. So in properties file we do a parameterization to skip hard coding, so that like we need not to change the changing parameters, the continuously varying parameters in every test case. We will just keep it at a central place, and we will take a reference of it, so that whenever we want to change, we will change it in a that central place, that is properties file over here, so that it will get reflected in all the test cases wherever you are using it, right? So that is what properties file. So we do that by using properties file. So we will use one separate package to keep our properties file. And how to create properties file? Right click on your package, new file, and give some meaningful name. So I am giving config, that is for configuration dot properties. Make sure that your extension should be dot properties. Alright, and here we will give URL is equal to, what is my URL? Demo webshop.tricentis.com. Then username is equal to then password is equal to, then let us say browser is equal to, I'll set it as a Chrome, right? This username and password will not be applicable to my case because I am keeping it in Excel file. So this is how your properties file should looks like. Your URL, your browser, like you can add your changing parameters, the parameters which you are changing. Fine. Now you have created a properties file. Now the next thing what you want is test data. Create one separate package, for test data files. In this you will keep all your test data. Let me go to the folder. So the location is C Prakash workspace this, right? So let me go to this folder, and let me create one Excel sheet, and I'll name this Excel sheet as a test data. And what I'll do, I'll keep some I'll name this as a login data, and I'll keep my username here and password here. So let me keep my username first time as admin@admin.com, and password as 1234. Second time I'll keep something 090909 as a username and password as a password, right? And third time I'll keep valid username, test@testautomator .in, and password as some valid password to that site, right? So this is my username and this is my password, right? So let us say I want to run this test case for 3 set of data. For first set username password, for second set username password, for third set username and password, right? So this is what my test data is for this particular test case of login: username password, username password, username password. So this is one thing. I'll close this. Okay, so we are done with this test data. Let us refresh the folder so that it will reflect over here. Now my test data is over here. Let me close the sheet too. Fine. Now I am done with test data. Now next thing is our actual test cases. So my actual test cases will be in this package. What happen in a framework? In framework, your actual test cases should be separated by with other classes packages which you are writing, right? So all reusable components should be in one package, all your actual test cases should be in your one test case. So I will have my login test over here, login test over here, right? So I will write my login test in this class. Now we are done with this too. So we are done with page objects, we are done with properties file, we are done with test data. Here I have my test data. Then our actual test cases will be in this test package. Now let us go with utilities. As I said, your actual test cases should be separated than your commonly used methods. So your commonly used methods like your Excel reader, your properties file read, select browser, and best test, like whatever common utilities you do write, that should be in a separate package with respect to the test, actual test cases, right? So all the utilities I'll be going to write in this package. So the first utility which I want is base test. I'll explain why I want this base test and all. Okay, so I'm done with the folder structure. I'm done with the folder structure. Now in order to log the information, I should use log4j. Okay, log4j I should have here. I should use log4j to log the information. So about log4j you can find it here. So you can find the detailed tutorials with this links and with this page. Fine. So why do we need log4j? So we need log4j to log the information messages or debugging messages or error messages, right? So whenever we run our test cases, we see the messages in our console, but those messages will be temporary. As soon as your test run got over, you will not see these messages, right? So if you want to store those messages permanently somewhere, then what you can do is you can write the messages in one log folder, and for creating the log folder we need something called as log4j, which is what happened which is API. So what I'll do is I'll create one file. What is happening? Okay, I'm creating task. I should create a file. Okay, I need to create one file called as log4j dot properties. I'll tell you why we are creating this file. So as I said, we are going to log the information messages, error messages, debug messages. So all the messages I want to write at some place, right? So for logging those messages, I need to define it somewhere. Okay, what kind of messages I want to log, where I should log it, what should be its size and everything, right? So all that configuration things will be written in this package, in this properties file for log4j. So you can go to my blog, and here you can find how to configure log4j in your project using log4j.properties file, right? So here what you can do is, as I said, in source file you can go and create a log4j.properties file, and in this file you can put this content. Right, so whatever hash, I don't want this. So you can go through the tutorials in this in the detail. I'll not explain this log4j now. You can go there, I have explained it. Okay, so this is the configuration file for log4j.properties. What happened with this file? With this file, a folder called as testlog.log will be created under a log folder under your base folder. So your base folder is dd framework. So once I run my test case, one folder will get created as a log under this my base folder, my framework folder, and under that folder a file called as testlog.log will be created, right? And that file will contain all the login messages which I am going to print, right? Okay, and this root logger all console, this will define what kind of messages you want to log. I want to log all messages, I'll give all. If I want to log only debugging message or error message or informational messages, so I can change it accordingly. You can find those details on my blog at here log4j tutorials, and you can find uh, different levels of login, so you can get details over here. Now I am done with this log4j configuration. Now we are done with page objects, we are done with properties file, we are done with test data, we are done with test case, we are done with utilities package, and you have created log4j dot properties, right? So the folder structure we have created. Now we want to start with actual framework. Now how to start? Okay, so first what we'll do is we will identify a page objects. For home page I will write my page objects here. For login page I will write my page objects over here. So for home page, how to write a page objects? Page object means nothing but, page object is nothing but, it is a web elements for each object which you are going to interact with, right? So from home page what I want is login link. So for finding out object from login link, what I want is I want xpath or id or something for this login link, right? So what I can do is I'll get login link xpath is equal to, so I can find login link xpath, and this is my xpath. To know about how to get xpath and all, what you can do is you can go to Selenium WebDriver and you can find the details in locator strategy, how to inspect in, how to find firepath, like xpath using firepath in my Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome by using xpath helper, in Internet Explorer by using FireEye, Selenium, then different ways to find xpath, CSS path, which is better, xpath or CSS. So all these details are on my blog with video tutorials. You can go through this link. Fine. Now this is my xpath. For this fine. Now what I want a web element object. So what I'll do is I'll create one method public, and what I'll return web element from this public web element, then name of the object login link object, and I'll pass driver to this because driver should be there to identify web element. Now okay, so the very basic things we forgot to add a Selenium jars over here. So what you can do is you can create one folder under this and named as lib, and you can add all your jars in this folder, right? So what I'll do, for me I'll add it separately, build path, configure build path. I will add it from my C drive, So what you can do is you can keep it in that lib folder as a structure of framework. I'm adding it for Apache POI, which will be used for reading your Excel file. It's fine. I have added all my jars and clicked on OK. Now you should find something to import. Can you see import? WebDriver import. Right. Now it is a web element, so I should return it. I should return what I should return. I should return a web element, and this web element can be found by using driver.find element by I am using XPath over here, XPath, and login XPath is the XPath, right? So this is what the object identified. This is the object from this homepage login link object, and that is placed in the separate class of the separate package of your page objects to achieve page objects model. In the similar way, we need to identify page objects for login page as well. So I'll cover this thing including this page object, your login test, base test, like everything related to test data driven testing in my part 2 of this video. So keep watching. Thanks.